Hello and welcome. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Challenger. So the Challenger is a Class C battle cruiser. This means that this is a late game combat ship, and it's also my first experimentation with exceeding the vanilla game's ship size limitations and ship part limitations. Um, so this is not a ship that you can build or even really mimic in vanilla. You will have to go ahead and have mods downloaded and or adjustments made on your um, design to be able to go ahead and copy this ship. Now, as for what mods are needed, I'm making use of the better ship part flips and snaps. You can most obviously tell that with the Hope Tech bumpers located on the sides instead of the fronts here, as well as the Hope Tech caps, which are covering the bridge. Additionally, um, going building this ship, one of the dependencies for better ship parts flips and better ship part snaps is the ship part configurator mod, and it's using that mod that enables me to go ahead and be able to exceed the vanilla game base requirements. All right, so enough talking about mods. Let's go ahead and take a tour, see how the ship is built, and then take it out for a spin. All right, so you can see that we entered the Deimos landing bay, entered up right here, and we are entering into the Stroud 2x1 armory. Moving forward, we have a 2x3 cargo hold. This particular one is Stroud, though you can use whichever one you wanted. And then forward of that, we have a Stroud infirmary. Again, can replace it with whatever one is your favorite. Off on this side, we have a Tayo 2x2 all-in-one, which gives us a little galley, as well as 4 beds. And then on this side, we have another Tayo 2x1 all-in-one, 2x2 all-in-one, which is another 4 beds. Again, you can replace each of those wings with whatever you would like. Moving back behind the armory, we find ourselves in the central ladder, and this is in a Stroud companionway, and this is also where the docking bridge access is. Going up one level, we find ourselves on the primary crew level. This is going to be another Stroud 1x1 companionway, forward of which we have the Stroud 2x3 mess hall. And then forward of this, I am using a Deimos 3x1 3x1 living quarters, though you could go ahead and replace this with an all-in-one instead if you prefer. At the front, we have a Stroud 2x1 all-in-one, just giving us another 4 beds. Do note that the living quarters does give you 2 beds here, as well as another bathroom. Then on each side, we have the Stroud 2x1 all-in-ones. It's one here and one here. Do note Stroud has an A and a B variant of these, and the difference is basically just where the bathroom is located. Is it located on the left-hand side as you're looking forward, or the right-hand side? If you don't want to fiddle with that, or if you want to, say, swap them out with, say, Tayo, then you would need to go ahead and put your doors right here, which would lose this bed. But if you swap this out for a 3x1 all-in-one instead of the living quarters, you would lose nothing. Coming back to that central ladder, we find ourselves going up one more level, and we are in the Stroud 2x2 battle stations. Moving forward, we have the Deimos 2x2 engineering bay. Note Deimos is the only one that has a 2x2 engineering bay and not just 3x1s. Speaking of 3x1s, forward we have the Deimos 3x1 Engineering Bay B. This one is more kind of like generators and electronically focused rather than the usual engineering bay, which looks more like it's got steam power going through it somehow, or an overly large gas generator. Coming back through the main engineering bay, we can come off to the side, and we have the Deimos 2x1 computer core. And then coming back into the battle stations, we can come off to the side, and we find ourselves in the Tayo 2x1 captain's quarters. Finally, the only ladder that doesn't follow the main shaft is the one that leads directly up to the cockpit. And this is going to be that Kontiki B600 bridge, which you can see I visually armored, even though the armor doesn't actually make any difference. But it looks cool. Alright. Enough about all of that. Let's see how this monster is built. And you can see that this ship is located rather high off the ground, so it's easy to track underneath it. Grab our colors. You can see I went with a gray for colors 1 and 2, and then went for a kind of goldenish color for color 3. Alrighty then. Now that we've got our colors in our palette, let's delete the ship. Okay, so let us start with the habitable portions of this ship. I'm going to go ahead and start with the landing bay. Again, this is the Deimos, and then we're going to go ahead and grab the 110 DP docker and flip that to the bottom. And then we're going to come on over to our habs, and we're going to select our favorite 1x1 companionway, which for me is Stroud. Then scroll back up, and we're going to add a door and a ladder to that companionway. Off that door, I'm going to go ahead and select my favorite armory, which again is Stroud. And then let's add another door. And then we're going to come on down and select your 2x3 cargo hull. Again, I used Stroud. And then we're going to place a door on the front middle and on the each side rear. Then we're going to come back to the front, and we're going to go ahead and grab our 2x1 infirmary. Then over here, we're going to go ahead and grab our 2x2 Tayo all-in-one berth mid. And now you should have a big fat plus sign. So again, with all of this, the general layout is what you're looking for. If you have habs that you prefer different looks for, swap them out as you wish. You can also very easily do something like make this a 2x2 cargo hall, and then say add a workshop, and then have these 2x2s out here. All options that are available. Alright, moving on. Let's go ahead and take this companionway and copy it. And we're going to just set it on top of itself. Then we're going to come all the way back, and we're going to choose a door and a ladder. And then we are going to go ahead and choose your favorite 2x3 mess hall. In this case, I used Stroud again. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab a door, and then I'm going to grab a 3x1, either living quarters or all-in-one. Do note that Deimos is the only one that has the living quarters, but Deimos and Stroud both have an all-in-one available. Then the rear and on each side of the 3x1, I'm going to put doors, and then on the front of the 3x1, I'm going to put a door. Then I'm going to come on down to my Stroud 2x1s again. I'm going to go ahead and put an all-in-one berth A on the front and on the port side, and then a B on the starboard side. And I think that that's the correct one, but if for some reason you lost the bathrooms here, just swap the A and B around. Alrighty, so that is the second level of this ship. So let's go to the third and final level. So we're going to go ahead and start with these Stroud battle stations. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a door on the back, and then a door on the front. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab the Dymo's 2x2 and make this the engineering bay. And then I'm going to put the door on the back and the door on the front. Off the front, I'm going to go ahead and grab that Dymo's 3x1 and make that the engineering bay B. Off the rear of the engineering bay, 2x2, I'm going to grab the Dymo's 2x1 all-in-one and make this the computer core. And then finally, off the rear battle station connection, I'm going to scroll on down until I get to the Taio 2x1 and grab that captain's quarters. Finally, to round everything off the back of the battle station, I'm going to go ahead and grab my cockpit. The Kontiki B600. And there you go. With that, we have the entirety of the habitable portions of the ship. Alright, now what? Well, I'm going to come to the back of the ship, and I'm going to work my way forwards from there. So, starting at the bottom, I have the docker, and I'm going to put a Dymo's belly on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my grav drive. Here, I just grabbed the J52 Gamma grav drive. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is the best one. You might be able to get away with a lighter grav drive, but I just didn't care enough to look to see if I needed that 50 grav jump thrust or if I could get away with less. Alright, next up, I'm going to go ahead and grab that Dymo's belly. I'm going to bring it up one level on the back lower portion of that grav drive. And then I'm going to come on over here to my cargo, and I'm going to grab a Galleon S204. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take that Dymo's belly and go up one more level. And then above the Galleon S204, I'm going to go ahead and grab my reactor. And for this ship, I am making use of the Pinch 8Z. Alright. Next, off of each side of the Pinch 8Z at the same level as the battle stations, or the kind of command deck level, I'm going to go ahead and grab my fuel tanks. For this ship, I decided to use two Atlas H40. That's one level up from there, buddy. Alright, and all told, this gives me 1100 fuel for my grav drive, which is basically enough to go anywhere I want with it. Then, I'm going to go ahead and come on over to the structural tab. Scroll on down until I get to the Stroud mid-bracer. And I'm going to cover these fuel tanks with the Stroud mid-bracer. Alright, now that I'm back here, let's come on over to my engines. And I'm going to go ahead and grab three of the best SAL engines that I can put on. So the SAL 6330 is the best that you can get, unless you go through the main quest line and do the main quest in a particular way, in which case you can unlock a better version of these engines. But if you do a new game plus and you don't do the main quests, or you just decide that you don't care for the main quest at all, this is going to be the best SAL engine that you can get. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and place three of these on the back of my ship. Alrighty then. What is next? Well, up here, I'm going to come on over to the structural tab, and I'm going to start adding a whole lot of structural pieces. So, starting with the Stroud Nose C, I'm going to go ahead and put a pair of these on the back. Coming forward of them, I'm going to get the Stroud Nose Cap D. I'm going to place it so that way where the weapon mount is facing towards the Kontiki bridge. This happens to line up just perfectly, so that way it does not clip into the bridge at all. So this means that if you are wanting to go ahead and have an armored Kontiki or just Hydra Kontiki bridge, you could still use these to go ahead and do so even in the vanilla game. Next up, let's go ahead and find our Hope Tech caps. And you can see that I can just, because I'm using the better ship part flips and snaps, the Hope Tech caps will connect with each other. So therefore, I do not need to worry about not having a connection piece right here. This is one of the things that you could not do in the vanilla game, but you can get around that by going ahead and using the Stroud Cap A's and then the Stroud Cap C to cover. So, as an example, if you wanted to do an armored one in the base game, this would end up being what it would look like. And you could go with this armor instead of the Hope Tech caps. In some ways, I actually prefer this armored look, but I did want to go ahead and experiment around with these Hope Tech caps instead, which is why I ended up using them in this particular build. But if you like that look more, go for it. So this ended up giving the ship a kind of slimmer profile than using these Stroud caps. And it looks different. I'm just not sure which way I prefer the most, but probably I would end up leaning more towards the Stroud caps. However, still looks cool. All right. Next up, let's come back to the back of the ship. We're going to come on down until we get to the Tayo cowlings. All right. And then I want the Tayo cowlings in the rear. And I'm going to go ahead and make two little things like this. I'm going to take and place these right here. And what this is doing is this just kind of filling up the space around the engine, so that way it doesn't look like there's a strange gap there. And I'm going to take two of these as well and place them around that as well, though you can't really see it very well. All right, moving on down, the next thing I'm going to do is clipped into each of these Daimos bellies, I have Hauler 10T cargo holds. And there you go. The only reason I did not use just straight hauler 10Ts instead of this kind of merge here is that the hauler 10Ts are a little bit narrower. If I was using, say, the Nova Galactic landing bay, and then I had put the docker somewhere else, I would consider going ahead and getting rid of these Deimos bellies. But as it is, I thought that this look flowed better. All right, next up, along here, I'm going to go ahead and grab myself some Stroud Cap A's. And I am placing one on each side. And then I am putting the rear variant on. And this is just to add some more flow going through here. Then, up here, let's go ahead and find ourselves the Deimos bumpers. And I'm going to pull the Deimos bumper forwards. And then have that extend down. Do note here that this is not connected over here at all. The only way that it's connected is the better ship part flips and snaps, which gives it a side connection right here. And then I'm going to copy this on over to the other side. Come on. There we go. Alrighty then. So, next up, as we come on down, off the side of the grav drive and the companionway, I'm going to go ahead and place my first landing gears. So over here I have a pair of the NG-15s. And this is giving us a total of 8 landing thrusts so far, which is still not enough for the ship even so far, but we're working on it. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab this Stroud Cap A and pull it down. Sorry. The other thing I need to do is, I'm not too fond of this little gap here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a Tayo cowling and place that there, and that kind of helps the flow right there. Do the same over here. Then we'll pull that Stroud Cap A down. And then while we are over here, let's go ahead. No. And I'm going to grab the Deimos cowling. Have that turned upside down. Again, this is only possible because the battleship part flips. And then I'm going to pull that on over here to kind of get that to flow better into the Stroud Cap A. And then repeat that right over here. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and come back up to this top portion. And I'm going to find the Hope Tech. There it is. Nose cap A's. So, if I go ahead, okay, well. And I'm going to place them on the side of the Stroud cap. And there's going to be this little connection piece here. And right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab an equipment plate. Figure out where it went. And then I'm going to flip this. Oh, nope, not flipped the correct way. And then I can now go ahead and put a weapon here. So on this particular spot, I have the Exterminator 95 auto helion beam, and then continue flipping this around, and copy this, delete that, and get that into place. And then over here, I have the Vaporizer 35 auto proton beam. Note that what I'm doing here is I'm basically trying to make it seem like these little nose caps, which I'm using for other purposes, look like that's actually an inbuilt weapon. Just because I thought that that looked cool and that seemed like an area where it could hide one. Alright, moving on. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go ahead and tackle the wings. So, starting with nose caps, I'm going to go ahead and place a pair of those on the back of each of these tile pieces. And then I'm going to come on down to the bottom side. And here I'm going to go ahead and grab the Nova Cowlings. Copy that. Okay, and now that it looks almost like it has a ski, I'm going to go ahead and underneath these Nova Cowlings, I'm going to grab the NG20 landing gear, go down another level, make that the mid variant, and flip that into place there. Then I can go ahead and grab all 6 of these pieces and copy them on over to the other side. Then I can do the same thing on the top except for not having landing gear. And then I can take these 4 pieces and copy them on over to the other side. Next, coming to the back, I'm going to go on over to the engines. And I'm going to scroll on down until I find the Ammon Dunn X300s. And I'm going to then go ahead and place one of those clipped in with the Nova Cowlings on the back. And then I'm going to come on over to the front, go to the structural tab, and go for the Stroud nose cap C. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy down these Hope Tech caps and the weapon mount, but my own OCD says that I need to go ahead and have the same weapons kind of grouped on the same side, so that way the 95s are all on this side, the 35s are on this side. That is not something that you have to do, it's just the way that I wanted to do things. Alright, next up, I'm going to go ahead and come to the front of the ship, and I'm going to start by placing the Stroud Cap B, And then I'm going to go ahead and place a cap B on top. And then come on over to cargo really quick to grab another galleon S204. Note that is all the cargo on the ship. There's 2 of these, and then the 3 Hauler 10Ts that are merged in back here. Alrighty. Then I'm going to come back here, copy this Daimo's cowling, and then copy the Stroud nose cap A, and then repeat this on the other side, and then just rotate that cap A. Now that I've got this, I can go ahead and copy the nose cap and copy that on over. Alrighty. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and grab the nose cap C on each side, and put the cap A's on. Then, to fill in this little gap, I'm going to come on over to the structural tab and grab a Daimo's cowling on each side. And then I'm going to cover all of this up with some Stroud cowlings. And basically the Daimo's cowling merges in with the Stroud cowling to kind of give a more continuous feel going there. Alright, so I believe that all I'm missing now. Alright, so I need my shield here, and I'm just using the standard SG-1800 shield. On the bottom here, you can come on over to the structural tab and grab a pair of Skeg A's, one in the rear variation, and then go to my landing gear to grab a 320 CB. Then, I'm going to come back on over to the structural tab. I'm going to grab a Nova cowling and place one of these on each side of the ship. And then let's go ahead and grab some Daimo's wings. Oh, come on. And we're going to put 3 Daimo's wings on like that. Next, let me go ahead and pull this nose cap bottom off really quick. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the Daimo's spine E, flip it upside down, and then I'm going to add an equipment plate right here. Note this part is completely optional because you could just as easily use the weapon mount right here, but I wanted to go ahead and put my last weapon, which is going to be the Obliterator 250 Auto Alpha Beam, on right here, because it feels almost as if it's merging into the skeg if you look, look at it funny. All right, then let's go ahead and take our side weapons, and we're going to just kind of tuck them in there. There we go. And then up here, I'm going to go ahead and scroll on up until I get to the Dymo's Spine A. And you can see that with the Better Ship part flips, I can connect Spine A's sideways. And then I can go ahead and grab a pair of obliterators, put them there, and then finally wrap everything up by sticking a Stroud braking engine in. And now it looks like these weapons are now firing out of the braking engine. Alright, so, two problems. That solves one of them. I tossed on an extra piece somewhere, who knows where. Doesn't really matter. But I do have an error still. It says the docking module doesn't like me. So let's go ahead and try and put the docker back on. Oh boy. Put the docking module back on. Dun, 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 dun. Alright. If your landing is. Okay. And basically, sometimes if you are going through and copying pieces at around the top or the bottom of your ship, it will decide that it just doesn't like you um, and say that the docking module is not on the outside of your ship. All right. All right, so technically now it likes me. Let's see if it will let me go ahead and put the structural pieces back on. There we go. And now it likes me. Okay. So, I have a feeling that I just added something somewhere that I didn't need. Probably just like a random hub tech nose cap somewhere. Um, oh, but I am missing my bumpers here. So to kind of fill in this little angle here, there we go. Hmm. Oh well, good enough. It's not exactly what I started off with, but it's just some extra structural pieces. So let's go ahead and paint the ship. And call that good enough. So there you have it, the Challenger's full build. And as usually happens with these overlarge ships, it's lots of different pieces that come together to make the whole thing. And it's easy to lose track. Don't worry, this is only about the 5th time that I've re-recorded the build. So, enough building. Now let's go ahead and go party. Alrighty. So this is the ship in space. And then what it looks like from inside. Still plenty maneuverable. Now let's pop on out to Serpentis. And enjoy some of the visual effects that happen when your ship is larger than Starfield expects it to be. So, looks like nobody's going to show up to party with us here. But we got some hostile activity. So this is on extreme difficulty and new game plus 3. Alrighty. So, 2 enemies, not even a challenge. Looks like just another 2. Woo! Obviously, 360 no scope to that. You all saw that, right? Right? Anyways, just a fun little visual bug that sometimes happens. Alright. Let's see what the sensor contact is. hopefully we can find at least one challenge today. Looks like nobody's going to show up for this particular moon. And we'll give it one or two more planets or moons and see if we can get an actual challenge to arrive. And it looks like it will not be there. Okay, so looks like we don't have any major challengers that are going to come for us today. So, what can you say? Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Alternatively, the ship is just that powerful, which, could also be true. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.